Good morning, sixth graders. I thought I would give you a quick overview of your assignment for today. So that if there's any questions, if you look at this later on, my office hours are not open, and then you'll be able to understand what to do. Today's assignment, of course, is under the Tuesday, April 14th folder. There are three landing spots in here. The first spot, or the first assignment you're going to go to, is the artifact examination. This is actually a Google document which you will open and of course make a copy of. And what we are doing with this, the purpose of this is to physically examine, as best we can, what a Distinguished Service Cross looks like. Now, a picture here shows that it's an award that's given to soldiers. Okay? You'll see here that there's a link that you'll click on. And by clicking on this link, it will send you to this website right here, where it gives all the information about when the award was established, what day was established, who started the award, and then of course it tells you about why a soldier could earn this or how a soldier could earn this award. Okay? All the information is right here. Part 2, of course, you would submit that through Schoology. Part 2 asks you to go again back to Tuesday, April 14th. And this time, you were going to go down to the assignment below. So there's actually 2 assignments for today. And in this particular folder, you will find a chart that you need to complete. Okay? So you're probably asking yourself, where do I get the information to put into this chart? And it's a little bit confusing, not too bad. To fill out that chart, this requires you to go to this folder right here, which is this instructions. Actually, a link. It's 2 links. And in these 2 links, it'll take you to every place that you need to go. Okay. So the very, very, very first thing you need to do is to read the instructions. Okay. And the step 1 instructions say that the first link, which is right here, takes you to a Google Sheets where I have carefully and painstakingly and very boringly picked out 60 people from Minnesota who had earned the Distinguished Service Cross during World War I. So let's click on this and see what we get. All right, so here is my sheet. And on the left-hand side, the far left-hand side, under the last name, you have all of the soldiers' last name. And then, of course, this column is the first name from Minnesota who earned this Distinguished Service Cross. The third column here, which says branch, tells you if they were in the Army or the U.S. Marine Corps. That's what USMC means. The fourth column on the far right is, of course, their hometown or somehow their connection to Minnesota. Either they were born here or they lived here. Okay. So just scan through that list and pick out a person or a name, doesn't really matter, that you somehow connect to or think is interesting or whatever. So I'm going to go hometown here and I'm going to pick William Simmering. Now it's important that you, maybe on a scratch sheet of paper, write down the person's name correctly. So this is his last name in the left-hand column, his full first name in the right-hand column. Write that down because you'll need that later. And then maybe write down it's in the Army and his hometown's Seward. Then you go back to Tuesday folder, and the second step you need to do after you get your soldier picked out is to now go to the second link called Home of Heroes. This is a kind of a really cool one to say. This Home of Heroes lists all the Distinguished Service Crosses that are earned by soldiers from World War I all the way to the present. It has the Medal of Honor and the Silver Star. Okay, so the page that I sent you to is the one that's only with the Distinguished Service Cross from the Army. And it has the citations listed by last name. So this is, if you're in the Army, your last name started with A, you click on this column, and B, of course, so on and so forth. Since my soldier, William Simmering, his last name starts with an S, I go over here to Army S, click on that. And it brings up a whole sack of names. Of course, they're alphabetical, thank God for that. And you scroll down until you find yours. And take your time. Don't immediately email me if you can't find it. You should probably go back and double check that you have spelled it right. Here's my soldier, Simmering William H. Click on his name, and it opens up this drop-down menu, which tells you a whole treasure trove of information. That he was a private in the U.S. Army, that he was in the 36th Division of the AEF, which is the American Expeditionary Force, that he earned his Distinguished Service Cross on October 8th, 1918. And then it has his citation, which is, of course, the reason why he earned the cross. It tells you that he earned it near Saint Etienne, France, in October 8th, 1918. It tells you that he was injured. He left a sheltered position against the advice of his fellow soldiers and went through heavy shell and machine gun fire to help a fellow wounded soldier, bringing him to a place of safety. So essentially, he risked his life to save someone else who was wounded. Okay. So what you want to do now is take this information and you want to go back to, of course, you want to go back to here and reopen this chart that we looked at earlier. And it's on this chart that you are going to fill in all the appropriate information. You're going to fill in his name. Spell it correctly, please. Don't be disrespectful. His record of his home of record, either where he was born or where he said his hometown was. His branch of military, it's going to be either the Army or the Marines. His division, his regiment, the date of heroic action, the location of the action. 90% of the time, these are somewhere in France. Then, of course, the most important part is the description of heroic action. What did this soldier do to earn the Distinguished Service Cross? Please make this 3 sentences. I do not want a copy and pasted from a citation, just a drop in for this. I want this in your own words. Right? If you get stuck on this at any point in time, you can see me today. I will keep my office hours open. I'll just have my Zoom room open until noon if you get stuck. Otherwise, you can email me. But it's very important that you get this chart done today, submitted, as well as getting the artifact description of this Distinguished Service Cross completed and submitted.